Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and today I want to talk about something that's been on my feed for longer than 48 hours, and I feel like at some point when my family members start talking about it, I want to talk about it with you, because after all, what are we but some internet extended parasocial family? To be fair, this is an important topic to me because it involves the color of my skin. Now, I've made no hidden state secret, being an Indian person, I am a South Asian individual, and if you ever were surprised, मैं इंडिया से हूँ, मैं भारत से आया हूँ, ladies and gentlemen. मैं हूँ बिल्कुल, मैं इस मुल्क से नहीं आया हूँ. मैं हूँ देसी आदमी. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a brown guy, okay? It's not a hidden secret. You know, that is what it is. That's my background heritage. That's the creator class that I entered into, okay? All right, I got plus 50 to mathematics and negative 200 to airport security bypass, okay? That's my racial buff. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today's video comes at us from KSI. And now, if you don't know, KSI is one of the largest YouTubers, one of the biggest YouTubers in the United Kingdom. We're related just because we're under the Commonwealth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, KSI made a big boo-boo. He said what is, in fact, a racial slur to my people. And it's a pretty guttural racial slur, too. Now, for those of you who don't understand, KSI used the P word, which, again, because of YouTube's TOS, and frankly, because I don't want to get a video striked, I'm not going to repeat a racial slur on the video here, regardless, even if it's for educational and, like, commentary purposes. But for those of you who want to know what it is, take the word Pakistani and use the first two syllables of it. Now, immediately you might be like, but Muda, how can you even say you're in that class? That's a different country. I just want to stop by saying here, okay, ladies and gentlemen, when we're South Asian, that involves Pakistani people, that involves Indian people, that involves Bangladeshi people, okay, who used to be called East Pakistan, all right? See, there's a whole thing about geography and world history you have to understand. Back in the day, India got partitioned into multiple pieces. Parts of my family are Pakistani, parts of my family are Indian. There's something called the partition. You know, people went back and forth, okay? Hindus went to India, Muslims went over to Pakistan. Not all of them, but there's a whole history of partition and a whole history that you have to kind of understand. Now, when you hear the P word in the United Kingdom, it's super racist and guttural. Because in the United Kingdom, back in the 50s and 60s, they used to have a lot of skinhead on Pakistani or South Asian violence, unfortunately. Now, of course, times have gotten a lot better, people have become more tolerant, but that's the history, okay? So I want to play a clip from you from the Sidemen, all right? This is where they uttered the word, so we're going to listen to it together and hear a big no-no.
Look, we need points in it, all right? I don't mean this maliciously, but the word. Sorry, I'm sorry. Look, we need points. I definitely didn't. Guys, come on.
All that for some points, ladies and gentlemen. Now, obviously, there was a few people laughing in this situation. Actually, everyone was pretty much laughing in it. Now, to understand, the drop of this racial slur isn't exactly lighthearted. KSI is from the United Kingdom. For him not to know that is pretty much statistically impossible, knowing that he grew up, obviously, around people that look like me. Now, to understand, this is kind of like the N-word for South Asian people in the United Kingdom, so it's not exactly the best word to be using. And, of course, the laughing, and he obviously knew what he said. This doesn't look like this isn't a good look is all I'm saying. You know, it's not a great situation. Now, obviously, because of this, there's been some apologies that have been tossed around. For instance, KSI says, I want to apologize for saying a racial slur in a recent Sidemen video. There's no excuse. No matter the circumstances, I shouldn't have said it, and I'm sorry. I've always said to my audience that they shouldn't worship me or put me on a pedestal because I'm human. I'm not perfect. I'm gonna mess up in life, and lately I've been messing up a lot. So I decided I'm just gonna take a break from social media for a while. It's like, all right, I'll step away until the heat dies down, then I can come back. Now, since then, what's really wild is, like, I wouldn't normally make a video on this because he made an apology, he made a boo-boo, and that's pretty much where it gets down to. I'm a firm believer that, like, this guy is not a racist. Now, as somebody that's grown up facing racism because of the color of my skin, I can tell you right now, it's pretty easy for me to identify if somebody is actually a racist or not. To equivocate this to like some neo-Nazi who's saying it maliciously and going out and doing like full like beatings on people like me is totally wild. You know, it kind of reminds me of even the PewDiePie bridge incident. While that was also guttural, it's kind of hard to say that PewDiePie was a racist. Unfortunately, some of these words kick out when they obviously shouldn't. But to equate these people to like legitimate racist selves is kind of outlandish. Now, obviously, he came out and apologized, and honestly, it's really up to the community of South Asians in the UK to accept that apology. But generally, when somebody like this comes out, I'm like, okay, all right, they know they made a mistake, whatever. You know, hanging it over their head is not necessarily the play you want to make. Now, of course, there's always going to be people that'll look at your apologies and say, you don't mean that. How dare you? This really hurts me on a personal level. And it might, and that's cool. Unfortunately, you're never going to win everyone over. Now, there's going to be a subsect of people that will always shit on you for this moment. And at some point, you have to understand, you can't convince people like that. If somebody's there to hate you, this is just, they didn't even have to hate you because of this reason. They just hated you the entire time. Do I think KSI is an evil, racist individual? Probably not, okay? I don't actually believe that. He made a mistake, called it a day. Now, the reason I'm actually making a video on this is there is some hilarious shit that's come out. Now, obviously, some of the other members on the Sidemen said, following our group statement, I want to make a personal apology to everyone hurt by my reaction. In the last week's video, as a South Asian, I fell short of my responsibility to ensure this racial slur that sadly I'm all too familiar with is not tolerated or trivialized. But of course, what was the group statement? During yesterday's Sidemen Sunday, a racial slur was said during the video. We accept that it was completely unacceptable and inexcusable. The fact that incident made light of on the show was wrong and compounded the hurt. We deeply regret this and would like to truly apologize. We have reflected on this incident both collectively and individually, and are truly ashamed that we let ourselves and you guys down. Bro, we saw the clip. Y'all were having a good laughy time. I almost don't even think any of this is genuine. Bro, you had the whole thing edited up. How did the video even get uploaded, for crying out loud? Y'all are from the United Kingdom. Come on now, you should have known a little bit better. But of course, I'm always one to accept any apology, and hopefully these people do better. But again, that's not the only reason I'm making the video. Because if you thought the apology tour was over, it gets even fucking funnier. Now, of course, in a couple days ago, KSI visited Al-Hikam Institute, a mosque in Bradford. And this is where things get truly insane. First off, we're going to play this clip over here. He meets an imam. They discuss, he's trying to educate himself on South Asian affairs.
With the intention of malice. Even those probably sat on the Sidemen, they probably didn't understand. They might have just been like,
you know what?
Laughed off
it was ignorance from what I saw. You know, that's what it was.
Did I not mention that word? Yeah. But that's what he's.
You know, the imam doesn't necessarily even care. He's just trying to do his Friday prayers and call it a day. Now, of course, some people say this is a PR stunt. And from what I understand, there was no camera sent over here. But you see, this is where things get really insane. In trying to appease and apologize, KSI, I don't even understand where the Islam arc came from. You said a South Asian slur. Is KSI gonna go around and go to temples and gurdwaras and everything imaginable just to make sure he covers the broad spectrum of Asian or South Asian religions? It's like, again, it's super insane. He said one word and somehow he made it out to be like this is now a Muslim thing. This is the kind of shit that actually burns me a lot. Being Indian myself, there's people who are like, how are you Indian, Muda? You're Muslim. And then I have to explain to the fucking dipshit watching the video asking that question, buddy, my nationality and religious background can be two separate things. This is one of those situations where he drops the South Asian slur, which could have included anybody that's brown. He just is like, how do I make it right? Well, let me go to the mosque, okay? Wait, when did you say an anti-Muslim slur? You used a South Asian slur. I don't even get it. But of course, it gets even wilder, ladies and gentlemen. The video you're about to watch is not of an actual ISIS, capture video. This is KSI further actually going down and apologizing. So just watch this video. It's even insane.
First of all, I want to address a recent incident in a
It literally is framed like he's captured by like actual like, you know, terror criminals. He's got the whole like apology paper in front of him. Like usually an apology's from the heart. I've never seen somebody print the goddamn apology out on legal letter and like actually read it out. And then of course the best part is trying to see like KSI hold back a smirk. Like if you're watching this entire apology, he's like looking around. He's got a little bit of that smirk going on. And it's one of those things where, I'll be honest, it's not so important following up on the apologies. I think it's a bit offensive when I see somebody over-apologize like this. Usually an apology, you make it once, you make it genuine, and you call it a day. When you see somebody doing it like this over and over again, it's like, we get it. You're not racist, all right? Congratulations. No one here is to cancel and remove you. I'm sure that this is part of the big brand, and obviously it's a bit of a corporate apology. They're trying to cover every base that they can. But it's like, he doesn't even understand even the slur that he's using. You used a South Asian slur, and then you turned it into like, oh no, I used an anti-Islam slur. No, you didn't. You didn't even understand the slur. You didn't even get. You're like you're trying to apologize to a community and then the specific subset of that community. And you might be like, but Muda, he used the Pakistani word. There is no specific slur just for that. Usually when you make a racial slur on somebody, you don't automatically know their specific nationality beforehand. You know what I mean? You kind of just throw it out there. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of those scenarios where it's like, I just see this as over-apologizing, and it almost doesn't even really feel genuine to me when somebody is doing this like a million times. You say sorry once, and you call it a day, okay? And I'll give you a great anecdote. One of the reasons why I wanted to make this video too, I grew up in a really, really heavy racist period towards people like me. I grew up as an Indian Muslim, so effectively, during 9/11, way back in the day, September 11, 2001, I'll never forget that date. And I'll never forget it because it was a truly tragic event that happened, done by an incredibly evil organization against thousands of people died because of it, right? And then, of course, a war happened where hundreds of thousands of innocent people then died too. Nobody won in this situation, only lost. We lost collectively as human beings. But when this event happened, the early 2000s for me was a rough period. You're talking everybody, even adults, would look at me as a child and wonder, oh man, what 747 is that kid gonna hijack the next day? Yeah, as an 8-year-old, that's gonna be a possibility. Suck my ass. And it's one of those situations where, like, you really do see the worst of humanity happen to you right there and then. People look at you the wrong way. People have off judgments about you. And growing up as an Indian Muslim guy, growing up as a South Asian in general, plenty of my peers would kind of like hide their cultural background, you know? I'm comfortable speaking my language in front of you, but growing up around other races, kids my age, kids of my background would keep that shit hidden. They would just speak English. They would try to be as like whitewashed as you could say, just so they can fit in with their peers as much as they could. And for me, irregardless of all the bullying, that's the one thing that shaped me into the man that I am today. It really showed me that there's two forks, okay? You can either let hate bring you down into absolute nothing. You can either succumb to it, or you can use that hate as energy to succeed. The best response to hate like that is success. It's why I've made working hard sort of a mantra in my life. The more I succeed in every facet of my life, the more it basically makes the hate like meaningless. Anybody that could hate me for the color of my skin can hate me even harder if I'm choosing to succeed versus take their hate and succumb to it and basically not progress in my life. That's one of my actual driving forces. As somebody that grew up in actual racism, as somebody that's seen actual racists, I don't believe KSI is a racist individual. That's why when I look at an apology like his, I really do think that he made a dumb mistake. He made a dumb choice of words. And should we ruin this man? Should we like completely cancel the guy because of it? No. Obviously people can change, people can grow, people can like get better over time. And this is one of those situations where like even if he's made an apology, demonizing him isn't going to make any situation better. Usually when somebody genuinely apologizes, demonizing them is actually going to push them further into a bad mindset, right? If somebody has had a racist thought back in the day and they made a racist like statement, and then like a year later they've apologized, they've realized they fucked up, are you still going to demonize them? What is that going to do? They're still going to go running back into their shitty mindset. In fact, that might even reinforce it even harder. And it's one of those situations where, like, if you're not willing to extend if you're not willing to extend some level of grace or leeway, you're ultimately making everyone lose in that situation. And that's one of the things with KSI. However, his over apologies need to kind of chill out. Honestly, I'm laughing at it, but it doesn't really seem overly genuine to me, okay? Like, it really just seems like I got to apologize, and I got to get some pats on the back. You fucked up, KSI, all right? You used a bad word. Don't use it again. Simple as that. But ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to get this out because regardless of everything here that I'm laughing about, it really did bring up some shitty memories, and I wanted to vent about it with you guys, okay? Because honestly, it's not something that I like doing. One of the things about my channel is I call it Some Ordinary Gamers, because it's a community of people that can come together regardless of whatever differences we have on the outside or whatever. And that's one of the things that I try to push all the time on my community or my channel. And I don't know, watching this stuff kind of brought up bad memories, but I wanted to laugh about it. I wanted to like cover this because obviously being an Indian person myself on the internet, yeah, this shit kind of does hit close to home. But yeah, KSI is not a bad dude, but Jesus Christ, it's like this apology tour's got to chill out, bro. God damn, just admit you made a mistake. People don't want to, if not everyone's going to accept your apology. At some point, you're going to have to accept the consequences, accept the brunt, and move on. Anyways, this is me, Mutahar, and I am out.